Hi everyone, so what I'm going to be showing you today is my fantastic new form tailoring scissors and how to use them. And first of all, what we've actually got for you is a very exciting announcement. So it's another launch in the Katie Barnes tool range, and it's a fantastic product that I know that you're all going to be so excited to see. So I will just show you now. So the next two products in the range are our cuticle scissors. So as you can see, these are really lovely and small, and I'm going to actually get my form tailoring scissors out to show you in comparison. Okay, so these are the form tailoring scissors that we've got here, and if you look in comparison, you can see the size difference. So the cuticle scissors have been designed to be more compact and small, and it makes it a lot easier for you to use when you're trying to do precise cuticle work. Now, whilst you can use these form tailoring scissors to do cuticle work, I've just designed these ones especially as I find them much more precise and easy to use with the cuticle. So I'm going to demonstrate a whole nail today for you, and I'm going to show you the cuticle scissors along with the form tailoring scissors. So these form tailoring scissors are available now to pre-order, and they will be available from the 13th of September. So the link is now in the comments for you to pre-order those. And if you haven't already ordered your form tailoring kit, you can also get a complete kit with all 4 pairs of scissors. Going to talk you through the benefits now of the form tailoring scissors. So all of our range comes in this lovely box which you're able to keep your tools in, and this keeps them lovely and safe and avoids damage to them. If you don't want to use it for this and you've got somewhere else to keep your tools, then you can reuse this and recycle this to keep other items in. So the box opens up, and inside you've got your scissors. So these ones are the curved form tailoring scissors. So each pair of scissors does come with this plastic protecting cap. Make sure you do keep this and you do store your tools with this in, especially if they are not kept in the box, because what this does is it's been designed to protect the blade, and it designs them, it protects it against being dropped and then your blade's being damaged. We'll cover that in more detail later on in this live. So I'm going to remove this and just place this in here, close the box and just pop it out the way. So with these are flex handled scissors, so they've got the spring action, and what that does is it makes it a lot easier to use than your regular handled scissors, which can be quite tricky to use. So with the regular handled scissors that you have to obviously get your fingers in, and to try and cut in a curved motion can be quite tricky. I've also had some great feedback of these from some ladies with arthritis that have said that the light spring action has been much better for their hands and it's caused them less pain, so that's fantastic to hear. The blade is lovely and sharp and thin, and this enables you to cut really well without tearing the form paper. It's also nice and small, and I'm just going to compare it with some other scissors. So this is an alternative pair of scissors, which you can see massive difference between the two blades. So these are my scissors, and you can see that they're thinner and sharper and more precise, where these are quite chunky in comparison. And when we're working on nails, the nail area and the form is actually quite small, so to try and work with something that's quite chunky can be quite tricky. Also, the spring action at this joint point here, it glides and it easily closes and opens, and you're not having to really force it, and it doesn't feel very tight. Where a lot of scissors, what they can do is they feel very stiff, and you're putting a lot more pressure with your hands and your wrists, so you're going to cause problems to yourself, and us techs obviously know that we can have problems with our hands and wrists, and therefore you're actually going to end up tearing and forcing the paper more. So the quality of the scissors is really important, and I have spent a lot of time. I've spent 2 years finding the perfect scissors for you all. And I've done a lot of research, I've tried lots of different ones, and I'm really, really pleased with these, and I hope you all love them as much as I do. And we've been getting fantastic feedback so far from everyone, so thank you for all your support with this tool range. So these are the these are the form tailoring curved scissors, and I'm now going to show you the straight ones. So again, they come in this lovely box, and this, I'm just going to remove the blade protector, and you can see that these are straight. So the curve has been designed for cutting the form along the free edge, so to get that perfect free edge shape. And because we're cutting in a curved line, a curved pair of scissors works much easier. The straight scissors have been designed to cut your side relief cuts, so those 45-degree cuts that you make on the form to pinch a lovely C curve underneath. The straight ones can also be used for cutting thinner paper items of nail art, such as angel paper, lace and things like that, so they can also be used for that. Again, the straight pair are really sharp. They are a really sharp blade, they're thin, they're precise, so they can actually also be used on the cuticle area. But again, we have a smaller pair of straight cuticle scissors, which I would recommend using for the cuticle. So again, we've got the small pair. So we've got the thin straight blade, and we've got the curved blade. So if I just pop them all next to each other as well, you can see in comparison the size difference. And you can see the size of the blade as well. So the form tailoring ones are a little bit larger than the cuticle ones, because when we are working on the nail, it is quite a small area. So this is much more precise, and it's a lot easier for you to get in right in the corners and for hangnails, and getting a precise cut without tearing. So I'm just going to go through some of the care for the scissors, and this does come into play with all implements. I see so many technicians just throwing their tools around, they're just throwing in a box together with no protective cap, they've got them under the client's hand as they're working, and you won't get the longevity out of your tools if you treat them like this. So it's very important that you keep them somewhere safe, which is why I designed the box for them to be kept in safe. Alternatively, you want a tool case where you're keeping all of your tools separate to each other. They've all got their caps on, just like we keep brushes in a brush holder to keep them safe. We don't throw them all in together, otherwise they'd end up bending on each other. And this is the same with your tools. So it's important as well to remember that all paper cutting blunts any scissors, and it will blunt them. And also you will get, if we are cutting forms with them, because forms have glue, what will happen is you will get a little bit of the glue residue build up on your scissors. So to remove that, all you need to do is get a lint-free wipe and spray it with a little bit of your dehydrating product, some acetone or some of your disinfectant solution, and just wipe the blades like this. And this will clean any of that sticky residue off for you, and they'll be working perfectly again. So with that in mind, that paper does blunt your tools, it is important that you don't use the same pair of scissors for removing cuticle as well as cutting forms. So it is important that you have either two pairs of these or two pairs of these.
We have a question from Kirti. Do you ship to India?
I do, Kirti, yes. On our website there is an international postage link, so yes, we do post worldwide. So also with regards to the brush cap, this does the plastic brush lid. This does prevent you blunting your tools if dropped, but if the blades are dropped like this, and this goes with any metal implement, if it is dropped, it will blunt it, and unfortunately it will be redundant. Also, when working with sharp implements, these are very sharp. These are surgical grade stainless steel, so the blades are extremely sharp for a precise and neat application. But it is important that you do follow the HSE guidelines when working with sharp implements, storing them for yours and your client's safety. So we have tried and tested these products in 2 disinfection solutions, Barbicide and Monday. And we have found that they work, these disinfectants work really well with these tools. What is very important, and I've actually got a scratch blog on it recently, which you'll be able to find on their website, as it was my last one from last week. And it is about how you store and how long you store your tools in this disinfectant solution. So many techs out of habit tend to store their tools in for just overnight permanently as they're working. And the problem with this is the disinfectant hasn't been designed for the tool to be in for this long. It's usually around 10 minutes, but each brand is very different. So it is absolutely paramount that you make sure you read and follow your manufacturer's instructions in full for the recommended time that your products are left in that solution. And this again goes for all tools. Also, when you remove the tools from the solution, you must thoroughly dry them with, you can get a cloth, like a microfiber cloth, a soft cloth, or some tissue, or anything like that, a towel, just to dry them thoroughly, and this will avoid damage to the protective coating. So keeping your tools in the recommended solution for the recommended time and drying them thoroughly is what is going to prevent rusting. So premature rusting, we've all had it on our tools. Let me just show you. So on this cuticle tool, you can see where you've got the rusting in the knurling here. And this is because the coating wasn't able to get in this area as well as it did on other areas. But this tool has actually been left in the solution for longer than the recommended time. And this is what has actually caused the rusting. So it is important to recognise it isn't the disinfectant solution. It isn't the quality of the tool. It is actually following the manufacturer's instructions for that disinfectant solution to get success from your tools. And these have also been safe and tested. They are safe and tested for sterilisation in hospital-approved autoclave units. So it is very important that you do make sure, if you do use an autoclave and sterilising methods, that you are following and you are getting a hospital-approved unit. Otherwise, some of these cheaper ones that you can get from online retailers, unfortunately, they won't give you the effect that you're expecting from them. And this can, later down the line, it can have an impact on your insurance if you haven't actually been using a correct unit. So it is important that you invest your money in quality tools, quality sterilising products, and also quality disinfectants. So I'm now going to demonstrate with these the use of my cuticle scissors and also the form tailoring scissors. So I have my pool model here, which was my volunteer partner, so I'm going to demonstrate on his nails. So please feel free to ask any questions during application, whether you've got questions on the tools and their usage and how to care for them, or if you've got any questions on application, please feel free to ask and I'll be able to answer them for you. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my customer's hands with an antibacterial spray. And the customer's going to rub the hands together, and that's going to just ensure we're following sanitation procedures. So the sanitation is the cleaning of our hands, our work surfaces. I'm now taking my cuticle tool and I am going to push back this eponychium. And I am using a 45-degree angle action, and as you can see, my cuticle tool perfectly matches the shape of the cuticle, and also it's rounded at the ends, and this is what's going to be catching this skin. So this is going to help you avoid cutting your clients. When you have the straighter ones, what you can do is you're more likely to cut your clients. So try and stick to a cuticle tool that follows the shape of the cuticle growth. So I'm just pushing back here, and I'm going backwards and forwards, and you can see the cuticle build up on the nail plate. Okay. And again on this one. And to keep your cuticle tools sharp, you can get them sharpened professionally, or you can actually take a 100 or 150 grit file and you can actually sharpen them like this. The sharper your tools, the better the job they will do. A lot of people can be frightened of sharp tools and think they're more likely to cut the client, but actually the blunter they are, the more damage will be caused, because you'll actually be forced to put more pressure on the nail plate and cause more damage. If you think of it like your kitchen knives, when we work with those over time, they do blunt, and you do need to get those sharpened so they're much more effective. Okay, so we're now going to look, and I just think it's very important for me to just point out to you now what we should and shouldn't cut. So what we should never ever cut as nail technicians is living tissue. So it's important to identify what is cuticle and what is the eponychium, and that is living tissue. So here, if we look here, the white, dry, flaky on the nail plate, that is your cuticle, okay? And this section here, this jelly strip, is your eponychium, that is living tissue. We don't want to remove that, that is a protective barrier. But then if we look at this one, I'm not sure how closely you can see on the video, but there are some white, dry, flaky parts here. And that is okay to remove. So I'm going to take the curved ones, they are my personal favourite. And I'm going to use this to remove the white, dry, flaky. So I come in and I get what I need to remove in the blades. And I then turn the blades flat, so the point of the blades is facing upwards. And that's important, that the blade is away from the skin, and this is how you are not going to cut the client. And you can just see there, I've just left it on the nail plate for now just to show you that dry white flaky patch. Again, just that corner. And then also, if your customer has any hangnails, you can easily remove those, or sometimes on the sides you have small bits there. This is also where the straight ones have come in, because sometimes you can't get the curved blade right in a quarter point like this. But sometimes when you've got some of the hangnails, these straight scissors are more effective. But it is personal preference to whether you like a straight or a curved blade. So I'm just going to show you the straight blade as well, just so you can see it is as effective. So it's personal preference. But it's great to be able to offer both, so you can use them for different uses. So again, what I said about not cutting living tissue as well, if you're ever unsure, you are best to not remove it until you are 100% sure and knowledgeable that what you are removing is true cuticle. Something that's very important for our clients to do to help with the build-up of this is to make sure that they are using a good quality cuticle oil on a daily basis, and this will help prevent some of the dryness. These tools can also be sold to your customers so they can remove their hangnails effectively rather than them chewing them off as well. So there is no reason that you can't stock these to sell them to your clients as well. Okay, so that cuticle area is now clean, ready for application. So what I'm going to take now is a 240 grit nail file. So these are my absolute favourite nail files, and anyone that's ever done training with me will know that, and the quality of them is excellent, so they really do last. I love the shape of them as well, and they're really easy to work with. So this is a 240 grit. I'm going to take the nail and I'm going to remove the free edge. It's absolutely paramount when you are creating an enhancement that you remove all of the free edge. And this is so that we can correct. So when a client comes to us for enhancement, they need some correction to their natural nail. And it's important that we do this so then we can fit the form perfectly rather than following the natural nail. So a natural nail often, and all fingers will be different. So this finger can often grow downwards and this finger can often grow upwards on the same clients. And if we fitted all those 3 fingers and left the free edge, what would happen is this form is going to go downwards, this one's going to go up, and this one's going to be straight, and we're not going to get consistency. So removing that free edge is absolutely paramount so we can correct and perfect the structure of the enhancement. So this 240, I'm just making a U shape around that cuticle zone and those sides. It's important that you just use a soft file to remove the shine when you're doing this prior to an application. And you can see that I'm just filing one area at a time. And I'm just working my way up the enhancements. The last stage I actually do is I take the file and I get it in here and I use it as if it was a cuticle pusher. And it is at a slight angle as I do this, and I'm pushing back. The reason I do this is because the area that you will find that the product lifts from is all around this zone mostly. So this really helps us ensure that all cuticle is removed off that nail plate and we haven't got any shine in that zone. If you're ever unsure if you've removed all of the shine, all you need to do, so this is a nice firm stiff dusting brush, and it's really important to use one that's like this as opposed to one of the makeup ones, because the makeup ones are too soft and they won't be effective. My other best friend that I use to help to remove dust from places is air in a can. So it's like a keyboard cleaner and it's a canned air, and that's fantastic for removing dust. I'm now going to take my prep solution. So this is my dehydrator. So I prefer this in a spray format. I find it easier to use. So I'm going to spray this. And I need to wait for that to turn cloudy before I apply any product to the nail. You can see that coming through chalky. As that dries chalky, it will actually highlight and show any areas that are particularly shiny. So you'll know if you thoroughly prepped and removed the shine off that nail plate. So I'm now going to take a form. So I'm taking a nail form. So these are my favourite nail forms and they're perfect to use. They're the Crystal Nails Extreme Butterfly forms. And they are perfect to use for all salon shapes. You can create almond, square and tapered, and a tapered square. Quite a lot of the forms don't come with these wings on. So what happens is when we try and build a square enhancement, the form automatically tapers from the beginning. When it tapers like this, you can't create a structurally sound square. So these forms are excellent because you can use them for all salon shapes. So I'm now going to show you how I tailor my forms. So I'm going to remove the form from the backing paper. I'm going to take this tab or egg from behind and I'm going to place it here. It's very important that your placement of this is absolutely straight and that it's not coming this way or it's uneven. And the reason for that is when I then try and close this, if that wasn't straight, my form is going to close twisted and therefore my C-curve and the whole thing will follow. Doesn't matter if it's this way, or that way, it's just how straight it's applied that's important. You'll also notice that I've placed it away from this zone. The reason for that is so I can then cut here to fit the free edge perfectly. And if I have the tab there, what happens is it will make it thicker, and therefore if it's thicker, what will happen is the form paper is more likely to tear, or I can get a step. So I'm now going to undo this part here. And I'm going to demonstrate a square nail for you today. I'm going to adhere these wings together. And again, just like the placement of the egg, how these wings are adhered together is absolutely paramount, because again, if they are not, it's going to be completely twisted and you will not get a straight and symmetrical enhancement. So you can see that I've only loosely placed these tabs together. I am now going to meet this up to the nail. So I'm not being forceful, I'm just placing it. And I don't want to do this, and I don't want to, there's a small gap just here. if I wanted to try and make it fit the nail, I might be tempted to apply it downwards. And what's going to happen is we're going to end up with a large wedge of product here, and the free edge is going to be much thicker than we want the desired result to be. So we must place out the free edge, and we must tailor this form now to remove any of the gaps that we've got. We don't want gaps, because what happens if we get gaps like this, the product will actually fall down here. And if it falls down here and it's touching the skin, we're going to cause overexposure and we're going to cause potential allergies, which, as we know, is a massive problem in the industry at the moment. Also, what you're going to then get is a little lip and a ridge at this join point here. And this is going to give the client something to pick on, to catch, and you'll get issues with the longevity and premature cracking. So the easiest way, and my top tip for how to tailor a form, is to get a white gel pen. And this white gel pen actually comes as part of the form tailoring kit. So the form tailoring kit, you get the curved scissors, you get the straight scissors, and you get the white gel pen. So the reason I use this white gel pen, I'm just removing the lid, I'm now going to use this white gel pen to draw around the shape of the free edge of the client's nail. The reason I use a white gel pen as opposed to black is we don't want to be having black on the form, because that's going to just play havoc and it's going to cause staining problems and issues. The reason I use a gel pen is that it glides along the form without denting it. If you use a biro, it will actually dent that form, and then when you apply your product, it will sit in that ridge. So I can guess, but what happens is you end up guessing, and it's just a guessing game. So it's very important that you actually draw around it, and it just makes your life so much easier. So I'm now going to remove this form, and I'm going to take the curved scissors. And as you can see, the nice small blade makes this so much easier. So I am going to go from left to right because I'm left-handed. These scissors have been designed to be able to be used left or right-handed, which is great for us nail techs as well when we're doing our own nails, because, as you know, we have to become ambidextrous, so we need to be able to use left and right-handed tools. And you can see how easily that cuts out. I haven't got tearing to my form paper, the cut was smooth, and now when I offer this up to the free edge, it completely closes all the gaps. It is important when you do this as well that you then apply it in exactly the same way that you drew around it. If I then maybe put it up a lot, I'm going to get gaps. So it is important that you apply it back the same way. Now I'm just going to turn this to the side to show you how I fit a form for a square enhancement. So I'm just going to get something straight, so it could be a ruler, it could be a file. And I am going to use the centre of the finger as reference. So the centre of this first knuckle is what I'm going to use. And we use the centre line of this to judge whether this is straight going up or going down. The reason I use this as opposed to the side wall, because that's what we want to do, the result is we want a straight side wall. If I use the side wall, if the nail was going down, if it had some missing, or if it was going up, we would follow that. And if that was missing some, our form would also go up. So we want to use this as our reference. So if I go back to this nail, and this is also why I like these forms, the straight lines that they use are in the perfect position for you to be able to measure this. So I'm coming straight with the centre of that first knuckle, and you can see that that line is perfectly straight. Now, if I apply the product on like this, what we're going to get is actually quite a flat C curve, and also it could flare out here because it's not tucking under nicely due to the finger. So what we need to do is we need to cut our 45-degree relief cuts to tuck that form and to be able to close it fully and get a really tight C curve. So our natural nail, the corner points start here and here. And what we want to do is we want to cut from that point. So you can create a dent with your nails, you could make a mark with the pen, or I prefer to just do one tiny little snip with my scissors. Now you can cut on, and these are lovely sharp and thin, so you can glide in. I just prefer to pop the form off very quickly. And then I can also show you the side view, and I'm going to get my scissors and I'm going to cut. And on this form, it's to the 3, so that is a 45-degree angle. And I'm actually cutting, as you can see, all the way down here. Now, a lot that will do relief cuts, and when I first started, I also did this. You would cut just a small relief cut. I'm just going to demonstrate why I cut such a deep one. So I'm going to apply this form back onto the nail. And if I turn to this side, as I now try and close that, it's got resistance because the finger's in the way. If I turn to this side, just open that one, I'm going to show you, I'm able to close that right round and I get a really, really tight C curve. So that's the reason that I do such a deep cut, and I find it much easier. So I'm now cutting the other side equally. It's important that you cut it at exactly the same angle. If your client has particularly fleshy fingers, so sometimes we get nail biters and they've got the very fleshy pads of fingers, you will need to actually make that cut a little bit deeper so your form goes past the fleshy sides. I'm now offering that up. I'm now adhering the wings. I'm going to open the tabs and I am going to now press this together and secure it underneath. Make sure that for a square nail that you do not taper it. So I go no higher than this dark pink. I also squeeze just there where the client's finger starts, and it's not painful. You can just feel that it really secures that form under their nail. Sometimes then you can use your scissors here just to make sure that you tuck those corners of the form right under the nail. And you can fit, this is really secure, because that is the perfect form fit from the tailoring of that form. If we look from the side, you can see we haven't got bulges here, so the product's not going to bulge out and I'm not going to get cracks in that area. You'll also see that this form fit is actually marginally smaller and slimmer than the natural nail. The reason for that is if this is exactly the same, when we apply the product here and on the natural nail, this bit is going to be thicker and flare out. So it's important that this form is marginally slimmer, as demonstrated here. So I'm also going to show you a pink enhancement, so a pink enhancement square nail, and how I would apply and how I will pinch as well using my pinching clamp. So I'm now going to take, this is my favourite primer, this is the Crystal Nails Acid Free Primer, and it acts like a double-sided sticky tape. I'm going to remove the excess on the inside of the bottle. And the reason I do this is we don't want to use too much primer. Too much primer has the opposite effect to what you want, and it will actually cause more surface breakdown and lifting. So you can see what a little amount I'm doing, and I'm really massaging it into that nail plate. I also don't use too much on my brush because what I don't want is I don't want this to be flooding the skin because we can cause allergies and irritations. So just one small amount like this is all you actually need. Okay, this one in particular does stay sticky looking because it's like a double-sided sticky tape. However, some brands can go chalky, so make sure you're following your manufacturer's instructions whenever you work. So I'm now going to create the free edge shape first. So I'm taking a medium bead. And it's important that you make sure you wait for this to turn pearly before you work with it. At the moment we've got quite hot weather, so this chemical reaction occurs a little bit sooner. So we've placed at the free edge. We now want to make sure you're holding your acrylic brush like a pen, and that is so you've got pressure. If you're holding it very far up, it's very flimsy and you won't have control. So we're going to use the tip to the middle of the brush, and we're going to walk it along and press it into that nail plate. And again, we're going to take this side and walk it along. So what we are doing in theory is we are creating a tip right now. This is the first part of your application, to create the tip and the shape. I'm now using the centre of my brush to make this even, and I can start shaping the free edge shape as well with the side of the brush. And it's important to make sure with a square, when we're doing a true structurally sound square, that we have straight sides. And to make sure you get your straight sides, what you want to do is actually bring your product down at an angle slightly. We create is actually it off, so that gives us room to affect it with our filing technique. And again, on the other side, you're always going to have a weaker side, and that is my right side. So many techs that are right-handed will probably find that is their left side. So I've got the product all the way down. My second bead is going to go here, and I'm going to work backwards towards the cuticle zone. So again, I'm taking another medium bead. Now it's quite important as well to remember that when you actually have any product missing here, that you don't apply additional parts until at the very end, because when I now apply this bead, it's going to cover it. So what we don't want to do is end up applying too much product. So again, I'm walking this to the side, I'm turning my brush and I'm tucking it in and blending it over. Walk to the other side. And you can see all the different parts of my brush that I'm using, and the strength of your brush is actually one of the most important things that you want. While you want a fairly large brush, you want something that's got some strength behind it so you can actually mold and control your product and you don't end up using it as a paintbrush. Also, with product application, you don't want to rely on filing. You want to get your application spot on at this stage. So that all comes down to the perfect form fit, then the correct application, so you only need to use your file to refine. This helps our hands, this helps prevent service breakdown from over-filing, and also it doesn't waste product. So we're placing this here, cleaning our brush, and if you look, I've got my brush now tucked over this cuticle zone, and I'm walking it round, and my middle finger is rocking back, then I blend. Walking it along, my middle finger rocks back and I blend. Okay, and then we'll look from the side, and what we want for our square nail is we want our apex at the back to the middle, so the back third to the middle, and then the product needs to come out completely straight. So I can see that I just need an additional bit of product there. And you can see how controlled I'm working, and this means that I won't have a lot of filing to do and I only need to refine. That side. And to the other side. Just finishing up the shape, so check the product from all angles as well. Okay, and that is all the product that I need, and then I will just only need to refine it. And quite often I will just use a 180 and a 240, and my ideal that is I go straight to a 240 grit file just to refine and then buff. So we just need to wait for that to lose its shine. And I'm going to show you how and when we should pinch if we choose to do so. Now, pinching has got a bad name for itself, and that, again, with so many nail techniques, is because things can be done incorrectly. So the tools that I use are these pinching tweezers and a pinching clamp. So the reason I use these is when I'm then pinching, I can come in and I can take these and I can control how much pressure I put on. So anyone that's a competitor out there knows we do quite a lot of pinching when we do competition nails, but when we work in salon, we don't actually necessarily need as much pressure. We just need a small amount. A lot of the tools that have been invented, all they actually do is taper, and it's one pressure, and it's quite a forceful pressure. And what applying too much pressure can do, and this forceful pressure, especially on a salon enhancement, is it can cause onycholosis. So it can cause the natural nail to separate from the nail bed. And this gives you a nice controlled pinch. So this will put it in the position you want, and using the clamp will then keep it in this position. So if I just show you this, you can just see it opens quite freely. We can make this tighter by wrapping 2 bands around it. And this would actually make it tougher like this. So this is the kind of pinch that I would do for competition nails, but I would just use a looser pinch like this on any salon nail. Okay, so these are my clamps that I've got. So you've got this part here, which is where you can stand it up if you want. They come with these elastic bands. So a lot of the pinching clamps that you get come with your standard elastic band, and the problem with these is they're not very resilient. So when they are stretching, you lose the elasticity of it, and they just become they're just harder to use. So these are quite tough, and what these actually are just horse hair bands. So hair bands that are used for plaiting horsehair, and it allows them to be quite tight, and they don't lose the elasticity. My pinching clamps actually come with 2 spare ones of these as well for you to use, but you can always get yourself a larger pack off any online retailer as well to replace them, or replace if you've got pinching clamps at the moment and you don't find the elastic band great on them, you can use that. Also, for many moms out there, you'll probably have an abundance of loom bands around. So loom bands also have the same effect. So to test whether this product is now at its pinching stage, what you get is you get 2 drying stages. So with your acrylic, you get your wet stage, which is when you first pick it up, and you need to wait for the polymer and the monomer to mix together. Then when this happens, this is when you get your shiny pearl, and this is your workable stage. Your next stage is moldable, which is then your 3D stage, and then now you get your dry stage, but it's not quite fileable. So what you'll get is you'll get 2 different sounds. You get your lighter tap, or you get your very hard tap that we'll recognise from doing with our brush. The lighter tap is when it's pinchable, and the harder pinch is when it's then fileable. So I just want you to see, so if we turn the hand upside down, you can see the C curve still, and that was purely from that form fit. So there is no need to pinch it, but I just want to demonstrate the pinching techniques to you. So we've got the nail here, and we're going to take our pinching tweezers. So we pull open the skin, we slide this up, and rather than that tapering, we pinch at this zone, and we can control the pinch. So we can put as much or as little pressure as we want. And you can see that this is perfectly square. I'm not tapering it, I'm weakening it. So this now helps us get it in the position that we want. And then we use the clamp to hold it as it fully polymerizes to the hard knock. So we open this, we have the skin open as well, and we come right down here, because what we want is for it to come absolutely perfectly in line. And now you use this part here, and you will push it closer together. So again, for a salon, just 1 or 2 is enough, but if we're doing something like a competition, we will push that closer together, much closer together. And we would also probably have 2 bands on to make that a more secure pinch. So that's just a nice light pinch, and what that's doing is keeping it in that position whilst it fully polymerizes. Okay, so to file this, I'm going to use, again, the files I said are my favourite files. So I've got my Astonishing Nails buffer, my 150, 180 file, and my 240 grit file. I'm going to remove this. And I'm first of all going to use my 180 grit side of the 150-180 file. So I'm going to take the nail, and to file straight, you want to ensure that your file is held completely straight against the free edge. If you want squoval, we angle it under slightly. Don't be tempted to hold your file like this, because what you will do is you'll end up seeing these corner points before your free edge. So I'm going to make this squoval because it's just going to be a little bit more flattering. I'm taking that free edge and filing it. I'm now taking the 180 side and I'm tucking it in. It's important that we don't over-file these sidewalls. So we just tuck in, we hold our finger on, because what we don't want to do is if we hold the file all the way up here, you can't see I'm holding it there, is I've got no pressure behind it and it's curving. So what we want to do is use our finger for support and strength. And I'm taping this and rolling backwards and forwards. So I'm going left to right. If you're right-handed, you'll go right to left. Okay, keep checking the free edge thickness as you're doing this. And then I'm going to repeat on the other side. It's really important that we actually follow exactly the same filing technique. We're not tempted to do this, because this and this will never have the same pressure and you will get an uneven enhancement. So if you find your non-dominant side more tricky to do in this technique, try and do it first and then we've got it out of the way. And remove dust as you're working so you know what you're working with. And again, we're taking our file and we're doing the middle zone now. And if you want to see this filing technique more, I do have this and also a pink square enhancement application on my YouTube channel as well for you to refer to at a later date. So I'm just rolling, you can see I'm doing a rolling motion, and this helps us get a nice curve of the natural nail. Okay, keep checking that free edge thickness as we're doing it. So for a salon enhancement, what we want to aim for is a credit card thickness and free edge. Your competition is business card. So I'm now going to do these points here, which are like the shoulders, hips, and like pregnancy bumps of the enhancement. And we don't want those because we want this enhancement to be coming absolutely straight. Then we're going to do little tiny fairy steps around that cuticle zone. We'll turn to the side, look at the apex. It comes absolutely straight out, so I don't need to do anything on that area. Again, this all comes down to applying your product where you need it. We're now going to take the file and do a polishing movement over the whole entire enhancement, and you can see how I'm holding it with my finger for support. Again, don't be tempted to do this because you will end up with a dip towards the free edge. This will help you get consistency in your salon nails, and also if you are a competitor, this will help you get consistency when you're competing, following the same filing routine on every single nail. Removing that dust. And now I'm taking my 240 file and I'm repeating the same steps again. The reason I repeat these steps is when you've filed one area, it can change another area. So it is important to repeat these and refine them. And also what we're doing is we're dropping the grit. So we can then buff to a shine, and we make sure that all the lines are in the same way. And this is how you'll get your perfect long-lasting shine. And the middle section. And the sides, and again on this side, cuticle zone, and all over. You'll notice that I haven't yet filed the sidewalls, and this is because filing those sidewalls can be a nemesis of nail techs, and over filing it happens far too easily. So we do that as the very last stage so we don't take them away. Again, checking that free edge. So I'm going to turn this to the side, and now we're going to file the sides. So remember when we built this, it came down slightly, and this is so we can then put our file here and we can completely correct it. So we tuck the file in, we're holding the finger again for support, otherwise you'll get a curved sidewall. So just the free edge. And again, repeat on the other side. So you just do 1 or 2, check it. 1 or 2, check it. And that's it. And then now we're going to look, and it's great. I wear black gloves when I'm filing, and that helps me see the contrast, so you can see the dark against the light, and it helps you see any flaws much more easily. When you finish an enhancement, you will often take the client's hand like this, and you will check the free edge shape. It's important to then bend it back down like this and look down from this view. And if they're not wearing anything black, if you just hold your hand behind it, it will help you see, and you'll see if this product is coming absolutely straight and growing straight from that natural cuticle zone out to the free edge, or if we've got any bumps and lumps. And this can be quite a common mistake that you see with a lot of almond nails. They actually flare out quite a lot. I'm now repeating all the same steps with my buffer. So this is a 280 to 20 buffer. And this is going to remove any of those spiraling lines. Again, it's exactly the same technique. And then to my 240. Now I'm going to take my stiff brush and make sure I move all of the dusting again, especially from underneath that enhancement as well. I want to also take my out and just bring my working station up. So just show you the free edge. You can see, put your credit card in this. We look from the side, how the nail comes up and off an actual nail. And it's nice and thin, this upper arch is straight, your lower arch is straight. Now something that you can do as well, so a lot of people, and it can be quite a good idea, is they actually do the cuticle work after the application of product. And the reason for this is they don't want to do it before and cause any problems that they then catch with the file. And sometimes when you file, you can highlight areas. So here, I don't know how well you can see it, but there's now a little hangnail. So I can now come in with my straight or my curved cuticle scissors, and I can just remove that now. So it's just getting rid of any of those little stray bits. And then I could finish this with gel polish, I could finish it with shiny top coat, or I could buff to a shine. As we'll be doing an immediate removal, I'm not going to bother doing that. So I hope you're as excited as us about the release of all our tools, form tailoring tools, and then also the pre-sale of our cuticle scissors. So as I've said, they should be available from the 13th of September. But you can pre-order them now, or you can pre-order the whole collection on our link that we've posted in the comments. So we do have a form tailoring kit, which includes our the white gel pen as well, and then we have our cuticle scissors as a kit together. We have all 5 items, and then we also have our pinching tool, our pinching clamp as well, to be sold individually. So if there's also any particular tools that you feel that are missing from the industry or that you'd like to see, please feel free to message us, and we will try and cater to everybody's needs. So I hope you love our tools, and we know loads of people have had some deliveries now and are loving them. So thank you for all your support, and any questions about our tools or application, please feel free to comment after in this, or feel free to give us a message. So we hope you have a fab afternoon, and you've enjoyed our video, and that's helped you understand our tool range, and also giving you a few tips about how I apply enhancements and my form tailoring techniques that should really then help you in the salon. So have a fab weekend, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.